Look, I never knew I was gonna be a multimedia studies student. Of course, I had applied for the course and it was a priority in my applications. But really? Me? A multimedia studies student? Did I even have a future in that? Was I even good enough to compete? Of course, these thoughts plagued my mind for the months that I was waiting, but then came April 19th, 12:55 a.m. After months of waiting, praying, and begging, I had finally heard back from my dream university. And of course, I was struck with joy. Before the realization hit me, I was gonna be a multimedia student and I didn't know how it was gonna go. Hi, I'm Maria Zunia A. Azanza, but I go by Sam, that's CAM, and I'm currently a freshman under the Bachelor of Arts in Multimedia Studies. Come along with me as I try to navigate my new life as a newfound fledgling in the media. Similar to musicians playing songs by ear, up to this point, I had been just feeling my way through media about what felt right or what looked right. Even when I did personal projects or publicity materials for my student government, I was mostly making it up as I went and never actually knew any of the proper terms you'd use to define media, like what the types of encoding were or what were the layers that were beneath multimedia as an area. Between you and I wasn't even actually sure what the full scope of multimedia studies was until I read course guides in the major and the description of multimedia studies as a program in international universities like the University of British Columbia or New Brunswick. And seeing my program around the world made me feel like I wasn't so alone after all. It's safe to say that I was coming into the program half blind and half conscious of the full offering. But that experience also led to a very new revelation: the art of taking a leap of faith. Leap of faiths are something I'd rather not do as much as possible. I like to be prepared and harnessed into whatever zipline I'd be making my way on. But really, is it really called a leap of faith if you had a choice? Because the thing is, the finality of finally enrolling into my university and enrolling to my classes, that felt like a free fall. It wasn't until 2 weeks into the program when I started forming a more concrete idea of what I was doing. It was a long shot and one that I wasn't even sure would land. But through the modules, I learned a lot more than I could have expected, and I was finally starting to put a name to the concepts that were familiar and yet remained nameless. I think a core memory was during Module 9 when the reading explained the role of interactivity during the World Wide Web. Like, sure, I knew links were directed to other links, but who would have thought these were actual, absolutely complex structure to these things? I know I had no idea. Speaking of having absolutely no idea, the technical jargon sometimes had me stumped and humbled and reminded me that I was very new to these things. Admittedly, I wasn't the smartest coming into the technical terms, you know? I remember Module 7 doing a number on me when it started talking about bits, bytes, bit rates, bit depth, and a bunch of other words that honestly turned my brain into formless mush. These struggles, however, also brought me the greatest satisfaction when I figured out the differences, similarities, or generally how these technical terms worked around one another like a well-oiled clock machinery. It was these small victories of extending myself grace and pushing my understanding that brought me the greatest feelings of satisfaction. It finally created this balance where I wasn't afraid to fail, learn, get up, and repeat the cycle all over again. More so, it's taught me the invaluable skills of being perceptive, intuitive, and more appreciative of how media affects the tiniest bit of our everyday life. Text in street posters, signages, books, and understanding the history behind it as a modality, the steps of movie production whenever I sit down to watch a movie, and how many things were involved to get it on screen. Moving forward to a few weeks before the end of term, I've started finding more peace in my position as a student in the program, especially now that the second half of the course is well underway. I want to learn more ideas about how media functions in the modern world. At the end of the day, it's the great art of taking a leap of faith that brought me here. And if past me somehow ends up finding this video, I'll tell her one thing: take the leap of faith. The fall really won't hurt.